Jeez, of course. It's like I think we've got one in. Yep, bought. Done. No more questions. Oh, I'm so glad you got the Bravo. I'm a little jealous, but glad for you. Yeah, it is like having a trim wheel does make a difference, doesn't it? Like, yeah. Hi. That's good. That's good to know. Uh, right. I'm gonna jump into the lesson. And yeah, mega jealous. And before I forget, because I forget every time, I'm gonna share my monitor. So stream. Circuits or the traffic pattern for Um, I will try to sort of go between the two, but yeah. Oh wait, I think I'm sharing the wrong thing. Change windows. Yeah, bumfitch. Bumfitch is what we're gonna spend a lot of time on. Bumfitch is kind of a love hate thing for you guys. It is gonna be something you kind of hate. Um, the good news for Null is that it's probably gonna be easier in real life than bumfitch. Yeah, because you guys tend to do gumps instead of bumfitch, which is shorter, kind of makes more sense. But bumfitch is more thorough. So if you can do bumfitch, you'll be able to do gumps and whatever. And different flight schools will have different rules. So for example, as a rule of thumb, I tend not to use for very rarely, if at all, use checklists once in the air for single engine pistons. Whereas a lot of people, not just US or just in general, a lot of flight schools will use checklists in the sky in the air as well. But I've found that flows cover all the checklist items. Um, but it is blasphemy for a lot of pilots, and I completely understand that point of view. So circuits, traffic pattern. The aim is to safely operate the aircraft in the traffic circuit. There are many lessons for this. It's not just the one. We're going to be cover a heck of a lot of crap today, and we're going to continue to cover more stuff for the training circuits. The traffic pattern of the circuits is in its own self its own section, and so it's gonna be really sort of really high workload, and we're going to use a simulator to help us cope with this. We're going to use Flight Freeze to get bumfitch in, and that way we will follow the main things. First of all, quick revision. Slow flight. Once you're established in slow flight, how do you control speed? Anybody? Yeah. And slow flight. Yeah, with pitch. Yeah, so remember, small corrections, pitch for airspeed. Um so let's say I'm too slow, and I'm flying level, which is what I want in my example. I'm going to pitch down to accelerate the aircraft. What am I going to have to do to maintain the altitude? Yeah, throttle up. So we're using throttle to control altitude at that point, yeah? So pitch for airspeed and throttle for altitude. And that's what we're going to be using on basically half of the circuit. First of all, standard circuits, standard traffic patterns are to the left. Okay? So we're going to practice that. We're going to depart doing left circuits. We we always want to be within the gliding distance of the airfield, and within the circuit, we're going to. Sorry, is there a question? Cool. Sorry. Within the circuit, we're going to stay how high above the ground? Does anybody know? Yeah, 1,000 feet AGL, absolutely. This is where like the European altimetry system can come in quite useful, because if you use QFE, the pressure at the airport, then that's your height above ground. So you just put 1,000 feet. So you don't need to do any maths, right? It's easy when you're at sea level or when you're like 500 feet above ground. But if you're flying above lots of different airfields, QFE is very helpful. You don't need to memorize the airport altitude. Cool. So first things first, as we said, 1,000 feet. Second off, radio calls. Flight Simulator gives you the option to make a call at every leg of the traffic pattern. That is fine. It is absolutely correct in certain circumstances to make calls at every point of the traffic pattern. I only want you to focus on one call, and that's on the downwind call. So, speaking of downwind, let's name the legs. Okay, so which one? You say this one's the upwind? Yeah, this one? This one? Okay, good. So this is, I think FAA, this is 100% correct. There is a mistake in there, which is upwind is the opposite of downwind on the dead side, and this is the initial climb. This is a matter of debate. I accept both, but from my point of view, this makes sense to call this the upwind and this the initial climb. But refer to it as the upwind if you want. I will not have a go at you for that because it is technically correct. And 99% of pilots who use the word upwind are talking about this. Okay. So good. So now that we've got those names in, we're going to refer to those legs. If you don't remember the names of those legs, make sure to speak to me if I mention one and you go, which leg are you talking about? And then I can point it out. Cool. So the first things first, we're going to take off. We have covered the takeoff. We know that we've got that left turning tendency, so we're going to use right rudder. And then we're going to pull on the stick to rotate the aircraft and then climb out at what speed? Yeah, 65 knots. What speed do we rotate? Yeah, 50, 55, 50, right? 50, longer runways, we can get away with 55. Typically what will happen is that you will sort of start to unstick around 55, 60 knots. But we're going to start that rotation at 50. We will cover crosswind corrections later on, but for now we'll just assume there's no winds. And then we'll pitch for 65. Yeah, so first get rotating and then pitch for 65. That's quite a high airspeed. So does anyone remember what the VX, the best what speed is? What is VX? Martian? Yeah, correct. And do you remember what that was for the 152? That's not cheating. That's not cheating. You've got reference. It's exactly what you should do. What is VX? Good. What is VY? Yes. Yeah, 67. So 65 to 70. So now you're spot on saying that we climb at 65. But when do we climb at 65? Once we've cleared what? All obstacles. But until we clear all obstacles, we maintain 55 knots. Cool. So now that we covered the takeoff, before every turn we must look out. We must look at where we're going, right? So I'm in the initial climb, and then I'm going to look out to the left, of course straight ahead as well, but specifically to the left to clear my turn. Speaking of which, easy to answer, why are standard traffic patterns to the left? Yeah, because you're sitting on the left side. Yeah, absolutely. So you're going to clear the turn. And the climb, 15 degrees angle of bank, right? Because you're in the climb. We don't want to put ourselves in unnecessary risk. We don't want to limit our climb rates, and we don't want to risk stalling the aircraft. So 15-degree bank angle, maintaining that 65 knots. Fly the crosswind. When so when do we turn? That is like one of the more important questions. Typically, you're looking for about 400 feet. You make the initial turn on the initial climb. There will be different, yeah, three, yeah, above ground, yeah, yeah. So 400 feet above ground. So this is a rough, this is a rough number. There may be some. So I'm getting some echoing. I don't know who's echoing. Uh, okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Martian. um. So when we 400 feet as a rule of thumb. However, you might sort of be departing from a very long runway, right? In those sort of circumstances, clear the end of the runway first and then start that turn. Because if you cut that really short, you're going to have a really hard time getting everything done in that shortened downwind. So you want to be around 400 feet, do your lookout, and then turn. When do we turn onto the downwind leg? That is, you know what? That's a very reasonable assumption. Um, what we use is we say that when you're at 45 degrees. So if I draw the runway and I draw a lovely little airplane, that and like this, group these up. Can I group these? So I've done the initial climb. When we are at about 45 degrees from the threshold of the runway is when we make that turn. Okay. So this is a visual check. It's not an exact science. I don't want you to be pulling out a compass or whatever. It's just a rough estimation. When it's sort of behind the wing, you make that turn. The idea is that when you're 1,000 feet above the ground and you complete that turn, you will still be able to glide to the runway in case of an engine failure. Okay? So 45-degree angle. At this point, you have reached... Oh, wrong thing. You have reached the sort of the high workload phase of the flight. Being abeam the threshold, so abeam means next to, you're going to make your call. Tower, Golf Romeo Yankee, left downwind, runway 09er or whatever it is. And then if you're doing touch and goes, you'd say touch and goes. So it could go something along the lines of Tower, Golf Romeo Yankee, left hand downwind, runway 09er, touch and go. Right now, this could be used both as a call requesting the clearance for the touch and go, or it could be part of an uncontrolled airfield where you're just letting people know. So traffic, Golf Romeo Yankee, downwind, runway 09er, left traffic, touch and go, traffic, right? Once you've done this, we now need to do our pre-landing checks, which is bump fitch right here, and we'll cover that in a second. Once we are abeam the threshold of the landing runway, right here, this is where we're going to set up for the descent. So we're going to reduce power to about 1800 RPM. We're going to slow down. We're going to get one set of flaps. So reduce the power to 1800, maintain level to help the aircraft slow down, get within the wide arc, set the first set of flaps, do your lookout, and then turn. Okay, so this distance is the distance it takes for you to 1, reduce power, 2, slow down into the right arc, and 3, deploy the flaps. And you shouldn't start descending. You should still be at 1,000 feet as you do these things. Once you've done these things, you do your lookout and you turn. In the base leg, you're going to make sure the carb heat is on, because obviously you'll turn it on when you reduce the power to below the the green arc. But if you haven't, now's the time to check. You'll set the power to about This is 1500, which is for the Piper Tomahawk. That might be a little too low, but let's go with it for this. 1500 RPM, and then we'll set 2 sets of flaps. So we finish the turn, we check the car beats on, reduce power to 1500, make sure we're still in the wide arc, get the second set of flaps. We're looking for about 70 knots. Is everything good so far for everybody? Good. Yeah, don't worry. We're going to use flight freeze, we're going to use all the tools at our disposal. So when you start turning for final, you should be around 600 to 700 feet. Okay, and that's just to give you a rough guide, a rough estimate of if you're in the correct path or not. And it will become obvious as you turn on to final whether you're too high or not. And then later on we can discuss some of the methods we could use to correct being too high or too low. But for now, we're going to be targeting to be on an appropriate approach path. And by the way, as I say this, there's a good chance I'm not going to be in the appropriate approach path because unlike Null, I haven't actually been practicing these. So I have a feeling Null might be doing these better than I will. We'll see. uh, yeah. Something called wind. Fair enough. It could it could be several things. It could be you're turning too late. It could be you're not using enough bank angle. You can use 30 degrees bank angle right at that point because you're just pitching for speed, right? At this point, once we've slowed down and we set the first set of flaps, we are now in the slow flight mode because we are descending for the approach. We're using pitch for airspeed and we're using power for altitude. By the way, this 1500 RPM, that 1700 RPM I mentioned, those are reference power settings. We then adjust to get the result we want. Okay, we start with those settings and then we adjust to see if it doesn't get us what we need because conditions are going to change. And no, I really can't answer that question until I see you flying. Yeah. Around 300 feet, we want to turn off the carb heat. Why do we want to turn off the carb heat? Yeah, exactly. So we got the power to go around in case we go around. And today, we're going to go around. We are not going to land. We're going to do low passes. We're going to go down and sort of 50 feet above the runway, just over the threshold, we're going to go around. Why? Because I want you to focus on the circuit skills. I want you to focus on the approach skills. I don't want you to focus on the landing technique today. Okay? All of this is going to be really tough already as it is. So adding the go around is going to add another challenge, but we have the skills for the go around. We have practiced those skills. Yeah. Remember when we were doing stall recovery, when we were doing slow flight, all those skills we used are appropriate for the go around. We're going to level pitch, add full power. If we're on full flaps, which we should be on final, as we finish that last turn on final, we had the final set of flaps. Full power, level the aircraft, make sure you're not descending, remove one set of flaps, pitch for how many knots? Why 65? Okay. The Yeah, exactly. We don't have assuming that we've done the circuit and we're going around and we're going along the runway nicely. 65 is perfectly acceptable. It's the best rate of climb, so we just want to get back up quickly. If we're going around because we're off axis, we're too low, right? Those reasons, like there's an obstacle or ATC told us it's conflicting traffic or whatever, and they really want us to get up quickly, then we use VX. So then we'll go to 55. But giving us that 10 knots of extra buffer, it's going to get us up quickly and it's going to protect us a little bit more from the stall. Okay, so situational really, but standard 65 knots. And we've done all this with the stall recovery procedure, right? When we're doing in the final approach configuration. When we recovered from the stall and we're climbing away, we remove the first set of flaps. We make sure we're climbing at 55 knots at the time, or 65 now. Make sure we're climbing, set the second set of flaps, wait until we stabilize at 65 knots, climbing, final set of flaps. We do the exact same thing, okay? Keep, yeah. Yeah, so the main thing is, um, for these approaches, we're going to be going around very low. And anyways, as a rule of thumb, you don't want to be retracting flaps when you're descending. You only want to be retracting flaps when you're level or climbing, as a rule of thumb. There are exceptions to that, but with every rule, but as a rule of thumb, if you're descending, you don't want to be retracting flaps. So we do that. We climb, get back to 1,000 feet, perform the circuit again, and we practice this again. That's all there is to it for now. Let's talk about bumfitch. Because bumfitch is a bit of a pain. It's a UK Canada thing, but it does cover everything for every single engine piston aircraft, which is why I kind of hate love it, because it's a really annoying checklist, but it is very thorough and very global, which makes it easier to transition between airplanes. So I tease it on the screen. What's B? A B, sorry? Okay. I mean, that would have been better because it'd be a bumfitch, which is hilarious. But no, it's brakes. That's all right. I mean, to be fair, it makes sense. You're thinking that you started at a beam, the end of the runway. So, Martian, what do you think we're checking with the brakes? Yeah, just making sure your parking brake isn't on. Yeah. It is. That's spelt incorrectly. You're right. Thank you. That is a mistake. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. That is spelt incorrectly. Thank you, Martian. You just found a typo in my slides. I will fix this next time. Um yeah. Brakes. So parking brake. Okay. Now I'm embarrassed to have, yeah, they should be off, absolutely. What would the U be? Think about a more complex airplane. Oh, very close. Yes, it's something to do with under. And you're thinking along the same lines. It's not underside, it's under, yes, undercarriage, exactly. Yes. So making sure you're landing gears down, right? If you're flying if you're flying complex airplanes, you want to make sure you're landing gears down. Remember that video we watched of the French people in the Alps? Yeah, yeah, I mean you'd think that you'd think people would forget, would remember, but as we saw, like, multiple experienced pilots missed it. So undercarriage. M. Think about your engine. Mixture. Make sure the mixture is full rich, right? Because right now we are practicing circuits and we're only going to be at 1,000 feet where we don't need to lean the mixture. But you might be entering the traffic pattern, the circuit, after having done a long cross country flight where you were at 6, 7, 8,000 feet, right? And in the case of a go around, you don't want to be low and with full power with very lean mixture. You could damage the engine, right? So, and of course, you won't have the optimal mixture at those altitudes either. So make sure the mixture is all the way in. Let's protect the engine, protect ourselves, make sure the mixture's in. F. What does the engine use? Fuel, exactly correct. Gotta check that the fuel is correct. It's balanced, and if you're flying aircraft where you need to select the individual fuel tanks, you're switching between circuits, right? So you use the same amount on each side for every circuit, so the aircraft's well balanced. In the case of the 152, we use both tanks and they're interconnected. So we're just making sure that they are showing an acceptable value, that we're not having a leak, and that it's balanced. Let's say you take off and you come to fuel, and you see that one tank is still full and the other one's like a quarter empty when you just filled up the aircraft. What is it? Yeah. What kind of leak is there a good chance that it would be? Hint, you probably knew about the problem already because there's a banging on the top of the wing. Yeah, you've left the fuel cap open and the airflow over the aircraft is sucking out the fuel. And that can empty a tank like in minutes. I mean, that's why are you contrailing? It's so in a 172, it's not a big deal because the tanks are separate, but in a 152, they're interconnected, so it's gonna suck the fuel from the other tank eventually. So you got to be aware of these differences of these aircraft. So you know that if you left one open, you better get on the ground fast. Okay, instruments. What instruments are we checking? Altimeter is definitely correct. Airspeed, yes, but that would be part of your normal scan. But what we're talking about here is not checking; it's setting. So what instruments? What do we need to get right? We need to get the altitude. So make sure that the altimeter has got the correct pressure in it. And we're checking the. Anyone else? Martian, would you like to fathom a guess? Don't feel free to get it wrong. First, I'm turning this way, then I'm turning that way, then I'm turning this way. Yes, the direction indicator. We're flying straight, we're flying level, we're flying at a relatively constant speed. We set the DI to the compass. Good. And that's basically it. So the direction indicator and the altimeter. Yes, we need to check the airspeed, but this is part of flying, right? As opposed to part of doing a checklist. But yeah, absolutely. Okay, C. Think about something that some aircraft engines have, but not others. Sorry? Carburetor, absolutely. We turn on the carb heat. So, you have one chance to turn on the carb heat. You have two chances to turn on the carb heat. You have three chances to turn on the carb heat. Okay? Why are we being so redundant with carb heat? Yeah, engine in the icing is bad, right? We don't want the engine stopping. In fact, one of the airplanes I used to fly up in Scotland it seems like it did get carb heats on final approach, carb icing on final approach, and they were really aiming for the numbers, and the engine cut just short of final, and they just sort of crashed just short of the runway. They were fine, the pilots and the students were fine, but the aircraft was written off, I think. Yeah, so really important to turn that carb heat on to protect ourselves from the icing. Cool. Final one, hatches and harnesses. Simulator, we kind of don't care, but we say it anyways, Brie. Make sure the doors are closed properly, make sure the seat belts are fastened. Okay? So, you have about 10 seconds to do all this. So it will literally go brakes brake is free, undercarriage is fixed, mixture is full rich, fuel balanced, sufficient, no leak, instruments DI set, altimeter 2992 set, carb beats on, hatches and harnesses are secure. You have to try and move that fast. Do I expect you to move that fast in this lesson? Nah, I'm not a dickhead. So the reality is, this is one of the reasons why it takes so many lessons, because you're going to be struggling to maintain 1,000 feet. You're going to be struggling to maintain the correct directions. You're going to struggle to navigate, to remember all the things you've got to do. And then on top of that, I'm throwing you a massive long checklist. So we'll use a flight freeze mode. Unfortunately for you, Martian, you don't have a flight freeze mode. so so you can only pause. So pause the sim, go through the items verbally, unpause the sim, set your instruments and the carb heat. Okay. So pause the sim, brakes is released, undercarriage is fixed, mixture's full rich, fuel looks balanced and sufficient. I'm going to set the direction indicator. I'm going to set um the altimeter. I'm going to turn on the carb heat. Hatches and harnesses are secured. Unpause. Do what you said you were going to do. Okay. And that's essentially most of it. Maintaining track. I might get us to do this in clear skies and like ISA conditions. So 0 winds, 15 degrees on the ground, 1013 on the altimeter. But when you've got winds, you need to take into account your track, because this is a track, not headings. We want to fly this pattern, right? So if this were east, we want to fly the track east, not the heading east. When it's 0 winds, they're the same. But when they're not, you have to correct for that wind. So the easiest thing I recommend is, once you do the initial climb, maintain runway heading as you climb by visually. It'll be much easier to do. Once you turn to the heading, pick a target far in the distance, and then adjust your heading to track towards that target. And then do the same, especially on the downwind. Turn onto the downwind heading. So in this case, it'd be 270. Pick a target, a visual target, like a mountain, a field, a river, whatever it is. Pick that, and then adjust your heading to fly towards it. Okay? Exactly. Yeah, so you put the target, you put it on the nose. You turn to the heading, you find something far on the nose, and then you adjust the heading so it isn't perfectly, but that you're moving towards it. So if I let's say there's, I don't know, like you find a lake, right? You turn 270, perfect. There's a lake in the distance, but then if there's wind pushing you, like this, right? Then if you just keep pointing at it, you're not going to be flying towards it. You're going to be flying sideways, right? So what you need to do is you need to adjust, correct for the wind, so that you fly the track towards it, even if you're not pointing at it. Does that make sense? These corrections are small, right? It's not. I exaggerated the angle here for clarity. Okay, so you're turning into the wind to make sure you fly that track visually. So we're not trying to be surgically precise. We'll develop that skill with practice. So first, we turn to the heading so that you know where that direction is. Identify the target, and then adjust. So in this case, the wind's like this. But if the wind were like this, then of course, once I've turned here, I then have to turn back in this direction to compensate for the wind. Okay. Whew, we've covered a lot. Questions? Oh yeah, I forgot about these. The approach. God. Okay. One more bit. Being on a stabilized approach, we are looking for two things. We're looking for a sight picture, and we're looking for the change in that sight picture. So first of all, being too low, the runway will look flat, and it will look thin and wide, right? So that means we're too low. Descending too fast is going to be represented by your landing spot, your target, going up visually on your screen, right? So if I have if I go back to that, get rid of all this. If I've got my cockpit here, right, and I'm flying. Ooh, my drawings get worse every time we do this. So if this is my wobbly cockpit right here, shoot. Okay, here's my wobbly cockpit. Here is the runway, right? We've decided we want to land at this point. If what you'll notice is if this point here relative to your dash, if it changes, so if there's this distance and then you see that coming up, that means we're descending too quickly. And the runway will also be getting flatter, right? As we, oh, well, I can't actually do that. It will get flatter, thinner, like thinner vertically as we get too low. That means we're descending too quickly, okay? If, on the other hand, we're too high, we're going to see more of the runway, and the runway is going to be descending. So if we had that constant distance, and you see this going on relative to your touchdown zone, then you're descending too slowly. So you need to increase your rate of descent. And the ideal picture, as you can imagine, is the Goldilocks zone, where the point on the runway you want to touch down is getting bigger and bigger. Oops. So this point here, I can't. Okay. This point here gets bigger and bigger and bigger, but doesn't move relative to the dashboard, right? So it just fills up the view. This is the correct rate of descent. Knowing the sight picture just takes time. It takes time and practice, and we'll work on it. And the reality is, it will depend where you are. You've got visual effects like being on a slanted runway, flying at night, that sort of stuff. Thin runways, wide runways, they might all mess with your perception of how high you are relative to the runway. Which is why you've got tools like PAPIs. Does anyone know what a PAPI is? Yeah, exact. That's the wrong kind of PAPI. So these are PAPI, right? So VASI are just two light systems, which are much more simplified. But PAPI, you've got 4 lights. 2 whites, 2 reds tell you that you're on the right path. 3 reds tells you're slightly too low. 4 reds means you're far too low. And then the reverse with the whites. Yeah, 3 lights slightly too high. 4 whites far too high. And again, this will change. I mean, for example, when I was flying in Glasgow, I was always flying 4 whites because I was landing way further down on the runway to make the taxi turn out. But that's not a good habit, especially when you're training people. Okay? Yeah, so... Oh, what do you mean they do not always work? Oh, right. Yeah. No, that's a shame. That's interesting to know. We'll have a look. I'm curious to see what happens. Okay. So, threats and errors. Let's do this. I'm not even going to ask you this because at this point you know traffic. This is especially true in this environment. We are at an airport. There are going to be airplanes, right? Much higher risk. So the lookouts are really important. Keeping listening out on the radio, right? Making sure seeing what other traffic are doing, giving a good mental image, good situation awareness, really important. How do we manage carb ice? Yeah, absolutely. Whoops. I accidentally gave it to you. You breathe on the engine. Yeah. Carb heats, absolutely. When's the first time what's the first instance we check carb heat? Yeah, so a pre-landing checklist, so bump fitch, right? So bump fitch is how you manage that. Incorrect path, right? We could be too low, too high. We can go around. Yeah, you can always go around. You guys heard that song? You can always go around. Yeah, so you can always go around. That's absolutely true. That's pretty cool. So fuel imbalance. How can we make sure that we don't get caught unaware by that? Yeah, yeah, it's part of bump fitch. Perfect. We're going to be in a really high workload environment. How are we going to manage that? This is a soft skill. Think more of the soft skills, sort of the theories of prioritize. Sorry? Practice, yeah. Practice is absolutely true in the long term. Crying. I'll let you fly for a while. Do you guys remember these? Aviate, navigate, communicate. Yeah. Prioritize what you're doing first to make sure the airplane isn't falling out of the sky. Second, fly the circuit. Third, use the radios. Okay? So, and part of communicate is checklists, right? Is doing these items part of communicate, right? Because ultimately these two are the most important, right? If you forget to turn on the carb heat, yes, you're at a higher risk of carb icing, and I don't want you to do that. But the airplane will still fly. Yeah. So if you can get on the runway, that's fine. Yeah. If you forget to use full flaps, okay. If you're on a very short runway, that could be problematic. But on most runways with a Cessna 152, you're fine. You can land on the dime. Yeah. So really prioritize your tasks. Figure out ahead of time what you need to focus on. So doing the RT calls, yes, I want you to be able to do that independently. But I'd rather you focus first on flying the airplane. For the sake of practicing retracting flaps on the climb and stuff, we're going to use flaps 10. Okay, I'm going to be making lots of mistakes. So do as I say, not as I do. But we're going to go through it. So first of all my lights are on. I'm a bit of a snob when it comes to it. You know, most flight schools don't want you to do that because it, reduces the length of the life of the bulb. But strobe must be on, nav must be on, and I do want to see landing lights on. So as I line up with the runway, by the way, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. So I'm going to line up with the runway. I'm using a lot of runway here. Really should minimize the amount of runway you use lining up, because runway behind you is wasted runway. We're going to check runway 09er, runway 09er. It's matching nicely. I've been cleared for departure. So I'm going to climb. So as you can see, the runway heading, although it's runway 09er, is that what it was? Yes. The actual direction is about 100. This is important. We need to be aware of these things because we want to fly it relative to the runway. So we're going to be flying about 098 and then 278 roughly. Okay? So now that we know this, we can depart. And we are at sea level with the altimeter, which is essentially the QNH, because we're on an island and we're at the shore. So we're at sea level. So indicated 1,000 feet, nice and easy. We're going to be making left turns for the left traffic, and we're going to take our time as we do this. I'm going to release my brakes. I got 10 degrees of flaps. I got the trim sets. Slowly increase power. Heels to ground if you're using pedals. Full power. We're going to check the engine instruments. Winds from the right, so I'm going to put a little bit of right aileron. Engine instruments checked. Airspeed's alive. As the wind picks up, I'm going to neutralize the aileron and pitch up to maintain 55 knots. 100 feet, I'd say I'm cleared of obstacles, so I can pitch down for about 60 knots. Trim away the effort. And then 65 knots. There's 65. I'm climbing quite comfortably. I've got my 60 to 65 knots pitched down a little bit. Still climbing. Flaps up. 3 to 400 feet. Let's make sure I've cleared the runway, which I have at this point. So I'm going to do my lookout. I see no traffic. I'm going to turn to the left at about 010 degrees, about 008. Maintaining maximum of 15 degrees bank angle. My eyes outside, instruments 15, we always lie. It's going to be really tough here because I've only got ocean in front of me. I've really accelerated, so let's pitch up a little more. Runway's about 45, so let's make a turn. 15 degrees, 1,000 feet, pitch down to level off the climb, and we can go to 30 degrees, reduce the power to about 2300, and about 280 here. I'm going to pause it here. So, look at the wind, look where it's taken me. The threshold's over there. My RT and checklist should have started here.
Yeah.
Winds. This is what's happening. I've got a strong headwind, so I barely cleared the runway. So I know for the next circuit that I can extend that initial climb a little bit more to give me more time in the downwind. Now I'm going to really struggle to do all the things I need to do. First thing I need to do is I'm going to have to reduce power to about 2100 to get into circuit speeds because I want to be in the white arc. I'm going to go tower. This is Golf Romeo Yankee, left downwind, runway 09er, low touch and go, we'll say for now. Now that I've done that, I do my bump pitch. Brakes released, undercarriage is fixed, not an issue. Mixture full rich. Fuel, we have 50, halfway there, close to what we started with. Balanced and sufficient. Instruments, I'm reading here about 285. Here, about 285. That's fine. The QNH is, the altimeter is 2989. 2989 is set. Carburetor, on. We get that power loss. Be ready to compensate for that to maintain the altitude. Hatches and harnesses are secured. I've taken my time with flight freeze on. No rush with flight freeze on. Martian, your only rush is going to be to set the direction indicator and just check the altimeter is set. So now that I've done that, I'm going to release my flight freeze. Make sure I am trimmed correctly. And I'm going to pick a point out in the distance. I'm going to pick the thin area between the sort of the outcropping area from the ocean, from the mainland. Getting close to the threshold. I'm going to turn a little bit here because I can see that I'm drifting to the right, which is expected with a wind where it's coming from. Threshold. Okay, let's reduce power to about 1800. Speed check. Flaps 10. Maintain, 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 maintain. Descend at about 70 knots. We can start our descent. I've increased the power a little bit. And now we can turn. So I'm going to turn. I'll have a bit of a headwind, so that's going to help me out a little bit. I can go 30 degrees bank here, if I need to. Pitch up a bit. And about 190. Have a look. That's looking good. Sorry about that. I'm really far now, so I'm going to turn in closer. I don't like how far I am. Second set of flaps. Flaps 20. I'm going to leave my power in because I'm so far out. So normally it'd be 15 RPM, 100 RPM. It's looking better now. I've overcorrected for the wind, so I'm going to come back in a little bit there. And now I can start my turn onto final. 30 degrees. My speed's low, so I'm going to pitch down. And now I'll have a look. I've turned too steeply, so now shallow it out. Correct for the inbound. I'm on final now, so full flaps. Now as you can see, I've got, I'm quite high, but I'm going to pause the flight sim here for a second. Whoops. I'm quite high, but we've got this cruise ship. This is an interesting challenge. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to aim for the airliner touchdown zones, okay? Which are the two thick white lines in the first third of the runway.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
We need to aim to touch down between the continuous white line with the 4 arrows and that touchdown zone. That is our target according to to the law and according especially to the FAA guidebook. This is where our touchdown zone. We don't want to touch down beyond that. We'll see how it goes with this cruise ship. As you can see, I'm losing speed because flight freeze doesn't stop that. So I'm going to pitch down and add power. I've got full flaps, about 300 feet, carb heat off for the go around. And you can see the cruise ship just clears it, so I'm going to do something illegal and fly really close to it.
Oh boy. I'm watching this on my screen for real.
So I'm going to go to 60 knots. Maintain the center line as best as I can. Looking good right now. Okay, I'm going to go around. So I'm going to add full power, stop the aircraft from descending. And then once we do that, add full power, right rudder if that were an issue here. Stop it for climbing initially. There you go. Now we can start climbing, but maintain about 55 knots. Not descending. Remove one set of flaps. Pitch up to maintain 60 knots. 65, sorry. We're climbing. Another set of flaps. Pitch up for the 65. We're climbing. Flap 0. And we continue to climb at 65 knots. So this time around, remember we have the strong headwind. I know that I'm going to extend the initial climb a little bit longer, and I'm probably overcorrected there the runway heading. So go back to it a little bit, and we'll try, let's say 600 feet for now, see what that gives us, and then we'll make a left turn. And I'll stop it here for now. It's high workload. You will not get this right the first time, and that's okay. I'm not expecting perfection. I'm just expecting us to get used to the environment, to get those checklists started, to start looking at how to correct things, to use pitch for airspeed and power for altitude. These are the things we're looking for. We're not going to get them all right. It's going to take a while, and that's okay. That's what we're here for. We're here to practice. Okay, so I am going to do a Maverick move to land back, to get back on the ground, and then I'll let you guys just go ahead and start practicing. Make sure to stream your screens if you can, so that I can jump in and watch you do what you do.
When you're up in the circuit, do you just keep your landing and taxi lights on the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really bother. I mean, different procedures. Frankly, I don't care. Just leave them on.
Okay. All
right. It's daytime, you know. Yes,
Mark? I'm on the other side of the runway, like compared to what you did now.
Yeah.
Do you want me to reset it, or do I just do it this way around?
Well, ideally reset it, but if you don't, make sure to do left circuits, right?
Yeah, it's all good. Okay, honestly, I'll just reset the flight. And the engine is on anyway, so we're just gonna skip all the checks that doesn't need it. Yep, that looks good.
really shuttlecocks into the wind there. See what the guy meant on the Q&A.
That was buck wild.
Back where I started. Okay, stop the stream. I see Null's live.
Yeah.
Give me a second. There you go.
Yeah, so guys, don't wait for me. Just start practicing, and I'll jump onto your streams and have a look.
Seems to be a car on the runway.
Oh, interesting. Ground vehicle. That's why you always check the approach and the final.
All right, flaps, everything's good. That's good. That's good. Let's do this.
By the way, my rotation was very, very aggressive compared to what it should have been.
Me or no?
Sorry?
Who were you talking about?
Me, what I was doing.
Okay, I'm not watching your stream right now.
No, it's
Busy.
okay. I meant earlier in the beginning. What's your speed,
Okay.
Martian?
Yeah.
I should be holding at 60, right?
Yeah, 65. So, Null, since you're using live weather, you know that you can extend that downwind a little bit more. That upwind, sorry, the climb.
Hitting properly. Yes.
Yeah, you do need to increase the volume, don't you, Martian?
Yeah. So you said turn around 400 feet. So around
Yeah,
now.
I'd say a little bit further even because of the. Oh, actually, yeah, you're fine. 400. Sorry, I
I
forgot.
have no wind.
Yeah, of course.
There's buildings there. Okay. Let's go. A bit far. Whoa. Completely overbanked there.
Sorry for the noise.
I'd make my call out. Tower, November Uniform Lima Lima. Turning downwind, runway 09er for a touch and go. In the white arc. Okay. So, bum. Brake's good. Undercarriage. Fixed and not an issue. Mixture's full rich.
Can you pause your sim for a second?
Fuel is reasonable. And fuel selectors on. And fuel.
Look out.
Instruments. We look like we're at 10.5.
Guys, in fact, change my mind. Instead of doing the go around, just do a full stop. Just,
What was that?
Instead of going around, just stop on the runway when you land.
I am not reading you. I hear you're talking
How's this? Is this better?
That's way better.
Sorry. Once you don't do a go around, full stop landing. So stop on the runway.
No, it's still bad actually. You start off loud and then get quiet again.
How about now?
Good. Keep talking.
Do a full stop landing. Don't do a go around.
Okay.
Yep.
Full
Good now.
stop. So
Okay, I'm confused with my direction indicator here.
Your compass.
Not looking good. Okay.
yeah.
No, I think the issue is I forgot which way. Now, west should be right.
So what runway did you depart from?
09, so 90. So yeah, west should be correct.
So what leg are you on now?
I'm on the downwind leg.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, so I need to level off here. Okay. Okay, parking brake is off, undercarriage is fixed, mixture is rich, instruments set, and the other one was the direction indicator. Looks good. And I need carburetor heat on and harnesses and hatches off fast. Okay, so I'm gonna unforce. And Mary, you wanna watch the approach because I feel like I'm gonna need help.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah, I'm watching both of you. I'm jumping between the two streams.
You're super quiet again.
Yeah,
Sorry.
man. Someone's up to your mic.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
Is this better?
That is way better.
How about now?
Still good.
Actually, let me try something. Talk now.
Hello.
Okay, that wasn't the issue.
I mean, if both of you are having the issue, then it's me.
It's good now. I don't know.
Yeah.
You there, Mary?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So I didn't take a screenshot of your thing earlier, but I'm gonna try this anyway. And I didn't take the flaps. Aha. Forgot that.
Yeah, so you forgot to take the flaps up?
Yeah, do you want me to do that now or just leave them for landing?
I mean at this point just leave them from landing, yeah. Don't bring them up to bring them down again.
Yeah, okay. So I need to, just to revise this, I need to fly a bit further down. Is there a rule for how far I should fly it past the runway?
So typically you want 45 degrees, just like on that turn from crosswind to downwind. 45 degrees behind the aircraft.
Okay.
So rotate your view a little bit. It's the runway's there, right? It's at you're 90 degrees now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you rotate a little bit more. So see the tip of your flap.
Yeah.
Say when the threshold is underneath that, roughly.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, and then I'm gonna turn and reduce power to. No, I want to go into slow flight now, right? Before I turn.
Yes, that's exactly correct. So you set the powers around 1800, and then you maintain let the aircraft slow down by pitching up. Well, actually, you've already got the flap until you're about 70 knots, and then descend. And when you're at 45, you can turn.
Okay. So I'm gonna bring back the throttle here. So I don't want to descend just yet, right? Just when I'm at, what did you say, 70?
Yeah, the 45 degrees.
Right.
Yeah, so 70 knots. That's it. Yeah. Sorry, my bad.
Flying over this cruise trip feels so wrong.
It is. Yeah, so there you go. So you can start descending now, Martian, because you've got 70 knots. But as you can, I mean, yeah. You're probably going to need to shallow out that descent, Martian, because you're very far away. I'd say start turning now, despite what I said, just because you're so far away.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not descending now. I throttled up a little.
Yeah, exactly. So the settings, the power settings are pre-settings. Adjust as how you need them to. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, no, I can either vacate on the left, vacate on the right, so I'm not in your way actually.
Vacate on the right? Okay, roger
Yeah,
that.
just up because I'm in your way at the moment. So you can and then taxi back to the holding point. Good stuff, Martian. Yeah, so exactly.
So, do I need to set flaps at some point?
Yeah, you need 2 sets of flaps on the base leg, remember? So let's go ahead and set flaps 20.
Okay. Speed
So
check. But 20.
Yep, so now you're going to maintain your new speed of 65 knots.
Yeah. Okay, close to that stuff.
So if you're descending too much and your airspeed's low, you can pitch down and add lots of power.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speed check. So I'm gonna set the other flaps.
Well, only on final. Only on final.
Oh.
So let's turn final.
Okay. Really close to that stuff now. And I've completely overthought it. Yay!
It's okay.
I think it's time for a go around.
Yeah, that's okay. So let's turn towards the airport. Let's stop the descent.
Yeah.
So with the power, and then don't do a go around yet. Just the rest of the descent, shallow turn, so you're not in the way of obstacles. You're not flying over people. So now that you're going to fly over the airport, level off the wings, and do your go around. So full power, pitch for 65 knots. Make sure you're in the climb. Turn off the carb heat because your carb heat's still on. Good stuff. No, be honest with me. Did you remember to turn off the carb heat?
I did remember to turn off the carb heat.
Good job.
I did. I turned it on, and then I waited, and I was on final. I turned it off. I felt very good about that.
Martian, check your speed. We're climbing at 65 knots. So let's pitch up.
I corrected. I wanted to correct for it, but I pitched down.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, good. Because now you're climbing. Yeah,
so
climbing.
That's so I'm gonna take those off. Yeah. I think.
Yeah, good stuff. Just pause your sim there, Martian. Okay, so I was watching both of you guys. First of all, like I'm you both did at different levels of proficiency, which is 100% expected. Null has hundreds of hours doing this already. Martian,
I
you've
just
only
crossed 100 hour.
And Martian,
I just did it.
Oh, congratulations then. And Martian, you haven't had the time to practice these things, so I am sort of assessing based on your levels, not on what I'm not expecting you guys to perform at the same levels. So I'll start with Null turning crosswind to final. Did you lose your sense of direction for a second?
Yep, fully.
Yeah. So, and Martian, you lost your sense of direction at some point as well. Remember the runway you're using? remember what leg you're on and the leg you want to go next, right? If you know which direction the runway is pointing, the rest will figure it out by itself, right? Because it's 90 degrees every time. And we're turning left, it's minus 90, minus 90, minus 90 every single time. So keep an eye on the runway. For both of you, there are a couple of times where you weren't looking at the runway before and after the turn. Make that turn, pick your target, look at the runway. So basically, keep situational awareness as to where you are. That goes for both of you, because a couple of times you did lose sense of direction. Martian, I think this is related, but you had a really, really massively long crosswind leg.
Okay.
You were flying north for about 2 minutes.
Yeah, I was. Am I supposed to turn out of it when I reach 1,000 feet or earlier?
Remember we were saying the 45 degrees?
At 45 degrees.
Yeah, that's it. So the issue is my demonstration was poor because I turned too early from the initial climb to the crosswind, which meant that the runway was sort of directly behind me, so the 45 would have been impossible. We always need to be in gliding distance from the runway, and you were far out over the ocean. It wouldn't have been possible for you to do that. So 45 roughly, always within gliding distance of the runway.
I think I need to make the climbing leg a little longer, because otherwise I'm not gonna be at altitude at that point, I think.
You don't need to be. The 1,000 foot on my diagram is not a limit to reach 1,000 feet by. Okay.
Okay.
It was just an indication that the circuit is done at 1,000 feet. The thing is, a lot of the things that the mistakes you made, Martian, are most of them you noticed yourself and you were trying to correct, and that's what I want to see. Yeah. So, like on the climb, you were turning a little steep, and you were struggling to climb. So shallow out that turn. You were about 25 degrees and struggling to climb. Shallow it out to about 15 degrees.
Okay.
And then maintain that pitch, and you're going to have the airspeed pick up again, and you'll be able to climb a bit more easily. And of course, you were struggling to climb big time because you forgot to retract the flaps. The flaps are only to get us off the ground, right? Once we've cleared obstacles and we're in a climb, we want to get rid of those flaps ASAP to be able to get up to 1,000 feet quicker. And then at the end, you were focused on other things quite rightly. You were focused on flying the aircraft, and you were noticing that you weren't going to make it. And so you forgot to remove the carb heat. So that's the other thing. But Martian, you made the right call. You said, "Oh, I need to go around," and you did, which is perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. Yeah, so really good job there. No, a couple more points. Couple more points for you. You on the approach, you were often reverting to pitching for altitude.
I got really nervous with that cruise ship there, but you're absolutely right. I was doing that.
Yeah. So, what if, because you were on a good approach path. So at that point, trust your power. Yeah. If you're really worried about that cruise ship, add the power first and then pitch down.
I feel like that would be a good motivational poster. Trust your power.
Yeah, like
Okay.
like power plus attitude equals performance. It's always going to be that rule. So if you're really worried about being low and not wanting to pitch low and slow, as long as you're not close to the stall, it's okay to add power first. I would prefer for you to pitch down first, but or at the same time. Yeah.
Okay, I can work on that.
Yeah. So just remember that one affects the other. As you change one, you need to change the other if the other one's okay. And and completely not part of this lesson parameter. On your flare, you let the nose drop.
Oh, okay.
So just hold the nose up. If you do floats like you did, hold the nose there. Like don't let the nose drop, because then you sort of plumped onto the runway. And it would have been a really nice landing if you just held the nose up. It would have resulted in a good landing. Good. Guys, really good first attempt. Martian, I'd like you to continue that circuit. Do bump pitch as well, but yeah, just keep practicing, both of you. Practice the circuits. Either land or do go-arounds. I don't care at this point. I just want you to run through these over and over again. We're not going to stop every time. I'm just going to be watching you guys, giving you tips as we go along. So there's no more sort of lecturing or anything like that. Just keep practicing at your own convenience.
Should we make should you and I coordinate on the ground right now? Like, should I be calling out that I'm going onto the airstrip?
Yeah, if you want, absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to move from where I am on the ground.
Okay.
I'm just going to be there the whole
Oh
time.
shit!
Uh,
Way too fast.
Tower November Uniform Lima Lima, taxiing or taking off runway 09er for an in pattern left touch and go.
Way too far again.
That's okay. So you've noticed the mistake, so you can correct it next time. Well done on leveling off the aircraft in the middle of the turn.
Pass. Good. Come on, level off. There you go. Right. Oh god, I'm way too far again.
Okay, that's fine. Now you know for the next one. Yeah, you're working on it. You're aware. This is what I want to see.
I mean, the issue was kind of that I was coming out of this really messy go around, so just on the fly a bit.
Yeah, don't sweat it, Martian. We're here to practice.
Okay, it's happening again. You're quiet.
Why?
I think it has something to do when you switch streams, because it seems to be happening there.
Yeah, might be.
Okay. I mean, it was when you said why, it was already low again. So I. Yeah. If you're talking, we can't hear you.
No, I'm not talking. I just dropped something.
Cool.
Now watch your speed on the climb.
We're climbing at 60 though, right?
65.
65. There we go.
Fuel. Good. Instrument. Set.
Tower November Uniform Lima Lima turning down runway 09 for a touch and go. Brakes. Let me level off here. Slow down. Brakes. Good, good. Undercarriage, good. Mixture, good. Fuel, good. Good, good. Instruments. It's 2 pips. What's 1 pip?
Good. Check. Lost 10. And we're really far again. Oh, no. Am I supposed to be descending at this point already?
Well, you can as long as you've got the speed and the flaps, which you do. But you are. Let's see the runway. Is it at the 45? Yeah, it's at the 45.
I would say so.
So yeah, so you can start descending at that point and make that turn. I would say you're low because you're far away again. So perhaps,
I'm gonna add some power.
shallow. Yeah, exactly. Shallow out that turn and descend.
Sure. Put the keyboard over it. Right. Oh god.
Null, have you installed the shared cockpit add-on?
I haven't. I tried once and I couldn't get it to work, and I found a new guide right around the time I got the throttle, so I'm going to try again this week.
Okay. Pick your point in the distance, Martian.
Fine. We're flying on instruments right now. That's not great.
Yeah, so it's okay to turn to a heading on instruments, but then pick a visual point and fly towards it.
Okay. So at this point, what do I need to do on this lag?
So what we would do is we'd set the second set of flaps, and then we're looking for about 70 knots, and we'd be descending. But right now you're a little bit low, so maybe make sure you add some power as you add that second set of flaps to slow down your descent.
Yeah. Speed check. Flaps. Level.
No, what altitude should you be at roughly when turning final?
700.
Yeah, 7600. Yeah.
So I'm a little high.
That's super low.
Well, we know why for yours, Martian, so don't sweat it too much. Just correct it as you've been doing. Good job, Noel. And correct for the center line, Noel, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Let's start that turn now, Martian. And watch your pitch. Look at your airspeed. So pitch down to maintain the 70. Good. Let's get that final set of flaps. Get about 1500 RPM. We are high now, as you can see by the 4 white lights.
This viewing is really annoying.
Alright.
Good,
correct.
High.
That's okay. Fly along the runway. Don't worry too much. I care about the pattern rather than the approach for now. Good. And then when you're comfortable, wings level and go around.
Cheek on touchdown, yeah. Oh, I made it.
Good. So no, you're high and you got high power setting, so you can cut that power. Because you're high and you got loads and loads of power, so you got lots of energy here. Pitch down, look at your speed.
Oh, I'm trying not to land though, right?
Oh, sorry, you thought you were going to touch and go.
No. Oh, I was gonna do a go around.
Alright, then go around. Go around, go around, go around.
It's a go around?
Yeah, there you go. See? Watch the speed, because you're close to the stall.
Okay, there's a building there. I'm not gonna clear it.
Flaps
Well,
20.
then turn away from the building. Don't hit the building.
Flaps 10.
Good.
Oh, that's terrible.
Martian, can you go into to pause it? Go into views. Was it views? Options? Instant replay. 30 seconds. Okay, pause it. Where's the runway?
Ah, to my left.
What's the
Oh,
runway
I can look
direction?
around in the replay. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just it's for your own self-diagnosis. You can press escape to go back to where you were before,
Okay, interesting.
or you can take over from this point if you want.
No, that doesn't make sense. Well, I guess. Oh, I could correct from here, actually. That might be interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So if I just move controls, I take over.
Yeah. So if you, I think it was something like that. I forgot how it was. Oh
Okay, now
no.
it's not doing anything.
Tower November uniform Lima turning down red 1-way 09er for a touch and go.
Oh, I think it was an add-on that used to do that. Sorry. So you just got to
Okay,
escape.
whatever.
It's been a while.
Okay, yeah, I see the problem.
Brakes.
At least I'm not going to be long this time.
Okay, brakes. Good. Undercarriage, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Mixture, full rich. Fuel is good. Instruments are good.
Small corrections with the yoke, Martian, not too large.
Carb heat.
400, so I'm going to start turning.
Okay.
And H. Cool.
Get the
Okay.
final set of flaps up. It's going to help you, Martian. There you go. Maintain the 65 knots as you do this. Don't let the aircraft pitch down. Yeah. Pitch up to slow down the aircraft, remember? And watch your direction.
Damn it.
That's okay. That's okay. Don't. It's
So
part of the part of the
once.
learning process. It's a hard thing to do. It's really tough.
Okay, I'm in the right direction now.
Okay, we'll see where the runway is.
Little
Look.
fast.
Yeah, so you can turn now. Yeah,
Okay.
let's turn. Good. So, still a little bit far out, but better than last time. This is looking good.
Oh, overcorrected a little.
Okay. So watch your altitude. There you go. I would say you probably need to do the DI check. Look at the runway. You're now on 270, but you're flying.
Yeah.
You're not flying parallel to the runway. So have a look at your compass. See what it says. Look up. So unpause the sim. Level the wings.
There you go.
Look at the.
Base level.
Yeah, you're still climbing.
Just with pause. Okay, but what did you want me to do with the compass? Just
Well, you're
make
looking.
sure
Yeah, make sure you're aligned. I'd say there's about a 5-degree correction to make.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So
Okay.
yeah, so I'd say your current heading is around 265.
Okay.
So actually not even 5, like about 3 degrees.
I'm still climbing, right? So it's not.
Yeah, so it's not that accurate.
Yeah.
Don't worry so much about it. Remember that the runway heading is actually around 280, not 27. So
Okay.
so you need to correct for that as well.
Okay, let me give me a second to that. Okay, there. Okay, so I need to get further to the right. Okay, pitch down. Go to the right. Yeah, that feels better. More corrections. Okay, and I'm way too far for all the checks now, so we're gonna do those now. Brakes are good. Undercarriage doesn't matter. Make sure it's in. Fuel is good. This is good. This is good. Carburetor heat, we want that on, and petrol harnesses are
B1.
okay. We're gonna skip radio calls for now.
Positive rate.
Speed. Need to slow down now.
Flap 0.
Go Martian. Check your speed.
It's alright.
Tower November Uniform Lima Lima, turning downwind, runway 09er for a left touch and go.
Okay, I'm really high. No, what did you say? 600, so it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, remember that's the PAPI for if you were in that position, pointing at the runway, which you're not. You're at 90 degrees. So I'd say you're maybe a little bit low. Have you got the second sets of flaps in?
Not yet.
B, brakes.
Well, that was the wrong direction.
Undercarriage, no. Mixture's good.
There we go.
Fuel is good.
And get the final set as well, once you're level off, wings level. Control the aircraft. Martian, don't allow the flaps to control the pitch for you. You control the pitch.
Flaps.
So
I'm
you
a little
got,
high.
yeah, and you got 2,000 RPM. You should be around 15, so let's
Yeah.
bring it to idle. Pitch down to maintain 60 knots. Down, not up. Down to maintain 60 knots. There you
Oh
go.
dear, this doesn't
Now
feel
you can
right.
add power. Let's not fly into the trees, eh? Add a little bit of power to slow down the descent.
And we crashed.
That's okay. That was better, Martian, overall. That was lots better.
Okay, so I got to steep in the end.
Yeah, so both of yous, I've seen this where on final you're high and you've got 2,000 RPM. Right? Remember, like the presetting should be around 1,500. So it's good to correct if you're low, but make sure to come back to the presetting once you've made that correction. Yeah?
Okay.
Because otherwise that correction is going to keep going. And so where what was once low is going to become high.
So when you set throttle to idle, I think at that point I just went down too quickly.
Yeah, so it's just for the correction, then you go back to the presetting.
Okay, so throttle to idle should have been only for like 2 seconds or something.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Okay, let's try this again with a proper takeoff.
No, cut
Yeah?
your engine now, idle power now, and turn towards the runway.
I am way too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I was trying to do bump fitch without pausing, so it took me an extra.
I see. That's fine. Oh, well, that cruiser is moving. Oh dear.
My carpet is in though.
Okay, good.
What is that thing doing?
You know, it's not on mine. I think it's because you've got sea traffic on.
I do have and I got an add-on for it as well.
Right, fair enough.
Seems to be turning really fast though. Doesn't look natural.
Right, now let's correct for the center line. See how you're right to the center line? And your airspeed. So this is a little bit of a recurring theme with you. I see that your airspeed is usually around 50 knots. You need it to be around 60. There you go. And if you're... So yeah, pitch down and then add that power. Add a little bit of power and pitch down. You don't need to add much power, just a little bit. There you go. And pitch down. You're at 60. You're at 55. We want 60 knots. Pitch
The
down.
ship.
Pitch down. Pitch down. There you go. Add power if you're worried about the ship.
Oh dear.
There you go.
Solid brass ones, man.
A little bit early on the flare, so let's So hold that nose. Hold it up. Hold it up. Hold it up. Hold it up. There you go. Much better.
Thank you. When you do a touch and go, do you actually stop?
No.
Okay,
That would be a stop and go.
that would make sense.
All right, Martian, I'm with you. Trimway the effort. There you go. Keep runway heading, so you're turning to the right now. You're turning to the right. There you go. Keep wings level. Small corrections. Don't make them too big. You're clear of the runway. You're clear of obstacles. Let's get those flaps up, huh? There you go. Maintain 65 knots. Maintain the 65 knots. Let's get you 400 feet. Good stuff. And then let's make that turn. So let's look right. Yes. And then let's make that turn. Good job. Perfect. Let's limit it 15 degrees bank. So right now you're about 20. So between that line and the one before. Good. And you're doing a very good job on the airspeed. You're about 65 to 70 knots. And let's level off the wings. So we've turned a little bit too far, so let's correct and go a little bit more to the right. There you go. Good. And look at the runway. About 45, so that's good enough. Yeah, so let's turn. Let's turn.
Down for a left touch and go. Oh, and yeah. On 09er.
Good.
That's like I knew this. I'm missing.
That's alright. It's hard when everyone's speaking at once. So, yeah, so now you're going to pitch down to maintain level fly just a little bit, and we're going to level off the wings because we're going to miss our turn.
Brakes.
There you go. Good. Let's pitch down a little bit more to the right, just a smidge of a turn to the right.
Okay.
Perfect. That's it. That's all it is. Good. Really small correction. Wings level. Good. Let's stop the climb. So you're pitching up for the climb at the moment. Yeah. Don't use trim to correct. Use elevator to correct. Trim to remove the effort. Good. Let's pause the sim.
Woo!
Good job. That was really good. That was really, really good. Okay. So let's do your bump fitch.
Okay, brakes. Okay. Fuel. Full. And balance. Okay, altimeter. Wouldn't have changed since takeoff. Direction. Seems correct.
Not much better now. Good.
Thank you. I did bump fetch a lot quicker.
Oh. Got created a targets. Oh, cool.
Okay, so let's get that power to about 1800 Martian. There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Stop the aircraft from descending while you're slowing down. You're in the wide arc, so let's get the 10-degree flaps. And then now pitch for 70 with the 1800 RPM. Yeah, that's it. Let the aircraft nose drop. There you go. Perfect. Check the runway. Yeah, so that's turn. We're a little bit far, so let's start that turn now. Let's increase the power a little bit since we're far. There you go, Nell. Good job.
Yeah, I was like, I'm hitting it. This is it. This is the thing. My hands are off. Like the thing is just flying itself at this point.
Exactly, which is what you want. This is exactly what you want. So we're a little high, but I mean, you've got a bloody cruise ship in the way.
Yeah. I just want to join the party.
Let's have a look at the runway.
A little low.
Yeah, so let's add some power.
Oh. I need to use trim more. There we go. Okay, I need to turn.
I mean, you can use 30 degrees at this point if you need to. Only if you need to. Like I think you've got it perfectly right now. There you go. Very nice. Add a little bit of power. And correct for the center line. There you go. Have you got the second set of flaps in?
No.
That's okay. Let's get... Oh, no violent movements, Martian. Let's go
Yeah.
ahead and put the second set of flaps in. That'll help you see over the dash a little better.
Yeah.
And then and maintain 70 knots so you can see what's going on. So pitch down. There you go. See how the runway's off to the left?
Yeah.
So let's turn. Let's get the final set of flaps as that happens. Work against the flaps. Don't let the nose pitch up. Push against it. There you go. Much better. And then it's going to drop the nose. So then be ready to work against that as well. So there's the nose dropping. Let's turn into the runway. You got those trees they're gonna screw you over again. Don't pitch up. Very nicely done. Very, very good. Excellent job there. Good. Now let's go around.
Okay.
Pitch for the 60 knots, 55 knots because we're very low. Okay. Wings level. Look, you're turning. Don't let... You control the aircraft, not the other way around.
09er.
Good. Let's get rid of the first set of flaps. You've cleared obstacles, so let's accelerate to 65.
There's a giant obstacle.
Yeah, without descending. Good. You're not descending. Let's get rid of the second set of flaps. Wings level.
Brakes.
You're turning to the right.
Good. Undercarriage. Good.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. It's perfect.
Good.
There's still a giant building. Yeah, I'm gonna pitch up a little to avoid it.
Okay, yeah,
Good.
so if you want 55 knots, don't go slower than 55 knots because you're not going to climb any faster.
Okay,
And
again.
see how... Look at your heading. You've turned about 30 degrees.
Good point.
And let's get rid of the final set of flaps.
More corrections. Come on. Okay.
Yeah, so look at your airspeed. Small, don't rush it. Make it slow and steady. Keep the wings level. Don't let the aircraft turn to the right as it's doing now. Okay, and
We
then...
need to turn.
Yeah, we probably need to turn at this point.
Look out.
Look at your airspeed, 80 knots. Let's go to 65. Martian, can you press the top button next to the left of enter of your return key?
Okay.
Does that do anything?
I don't think so. What do you want me to do?
To shift the view up. It's one of those buttons.
Oh.
It's like it's one of the buttons next to the enter key. It'll shift your view up.
Soon. That might be. Okay, I need to look that up.
It might make it a bit easier for you.
Yeah.
Let's watch now as you look that up. So see how you're off to the right now? So let's correct that. Get back onto the center line. No, would you be okay trying to stream in at 30 FPS? Because I'm getting a lot of issues.
I think I am. I thought I was streaming at 30 FPS.
You're streaming at 60.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Hang on. I didn't know that was possible.
Like this?
Oh wow, yeah. Sorry, I had no idea. Go live. There you go. Is that better for you?
Yeah, that's it, Marshall. That's correct. Yeah, that's better for me as well. Thank you, Noel. Yeah, it's, so go a little bit more, Martian. Yeah, about there. So just so you can have a better visibility over the dash.
Yeah, makes sense.
Cool. Yeah. So see how we're quite far from the runway. I think we can turn in now.
Yeah, and I'm also at 1,000 feet. So I'm gonna reduce power a little bit and turn. What speed do I want in this right and level?
1 second.
Yeah.
So you want once you're so you're at 1,000 feet, so you're looking for 2,100 RPM, and that should get you around 80 knots. I'm not too fussed about the exact speed, but as you can see, the aircraft's pitching up, so let's work against it, trim away the effort. There you go. All right, let's look.
All right, I missed the speed and all that. What was it?
Yeah, that's perfect. You're around 80 knots is fine. So
Okay, cool.
let's pause it and let's do the bump
Level.
pitch.
Well, not too bad.
Good, much better.
Okay. Yeah. That's good. No. That is good. That is good. Area heat and harness lock. Okay, so we're gonna slow down now.
You're in the wide arc, so you can get that first set of flaps.
So basically I want one set of flaps per leg.
Yeah, and pitch down for 70 knots. Because see, as soon as you got the flaps in. So the only reason we're slowing down is to get in the wide arc, so we can get the flaps in. If you're already in the wide arc, we can get the flaps in.
Oh, okay.
Next circuit, Martian, let's get a little bit closer to the runway for the downwind, okay? So turn a little bit sooner.
November uniform Lima Lima turning downwind for a touch and go.
Yo, Martian, let's turn let's shallow out the turn a little, the descent a little bit because we're far out. So about 2,100 RPM, 2,100 RPM.
It's really hard for me to judge, like how much I need to change the throttle.
Yeah, I mean,
Brakes.
right now, if you were to have an engine failure, Martian, you can't reach the runway, which is an indication that we're too far out.
Mixture.
Right.
Fuel. Instruments. Ice. Compensate. Flaps.
I did warn you this would be a challenging one.
Yeah, you were right.
Okay, good, Martian. So a little bit low.
Yeah, I thought so.
So yeah, let's level off here. Add some power. Yeah, just keep the aircraft level, 70 knots. Base leg, let's get a second set of flaps in. Let's go. Second set. There you go. Maintain the 70 knots. So add the power so you don't descend again. And you're turning to the right as you do this, so keep an eye on your direction. There you go. And let's turn on final. You're still descending, so let's add some power in. We don't want to descend. And let's start that turn, yeah. There you go. Small corrections now. Very small bank angles, sort of 5 degrees, 10 degrees maximum. Good. Right, Martian, I wanted you to pause the sim.
Too high.
No, yeah, but don't worry about that. Go into option, flight, sorry, I think it is. Save.
Okay.
Go around. Okay.
What now?
Yeah. There you go. Okay. Cool. Just continue as
Okay.
normal.
Any reason for this?
Yeah, we're gonna practice your go-arounds in a bit.
Okay, cool. So high.
Let's try and land this one if you can. Have a practice. It doesn't matter if you don't do it well. I don't care if you crash. Just have a practice landing. Get the full flaps in because you're on final. Very good. Yeah, keep it. Keep the nose down. Keep the nose down. And now start flaring. Watch the end of the runway. Cut the power idle completely. Yeah, there you go. Remember, good. And let's come to a stop on the runway. Fucking A. Good job.
Cool.
Well done. Go ahead and watch Null's stream, Martian, for me.
Okay.
But there goes Null. He's climbing about 70 knots. We're looking for 65. Maintaining the runway center line, really important. So the aircraft does want to turn to the right sometimes. He working against it. A little bit right to the runway heading to correct for the winds in this case. And as you can see, normally we turn to 300 to 400 feet, but Null is going a bit further out because of the strong headwinds he's getting right now. Yeah, so that means it's going to translate to strong tailwinds on final. And so there goes the turn, no more than 15 degrees, hopefully. Keeping an eye at the direction, making sure we don't overshoot our target, especially with those crosswinds, which are going to be pretty nasty. Good. By maintaining 65 knots, roughly, it's going to get you to the 1,000 feet much sooner. There
Tower
it is.
November Uniform Lima Lima turning downwind for a full stop on 09.
See how early that turn was, Martian? And look, roughly aligned with the coast, which is now a really easy way to identify the sort of path you want to take. And now, if Null were to have an engine failure, he can glide to the airport. I don't care if you crash.
Doesn't matter. Mixture in, fuel is good. Instruments looks good. I'm a little high. And then ice. And then, yeah, I'm strapped in. I'm strapped. A little fast, so I'm gonna slow my power and pitch up to maintain 1,000. This will get me down into the white arc. At which point I will trim out. So that was a wind thing. Trim out and then hit first flaps. Flaps 10. All right. I'm looking at the sort of middle of that cove. I'm gonna fly for a little bit longer. Start to descend a little bit more. I don't know why this is like the wind picked up all of a sudden. Now it's like trying to.
It's probably the weather forecast or detection suddenly changing.
All right, I'm going to turn base.
Maintain the 70 knots using pitch. Good. Turning into the wind as we do that, yeah.
Power down a little bit. I had my second set of flaps trimmed to fight against it, and now I'm going to turn final at about 700 feet.
There you go.
Y'all thought I was gonna forget my carb heat, which I'm not. I'm gonna revert to the center line because I'm a little right. I'm also a little slow, so I'm gonna dip to gain, put a little power in.
Small corrections, yep. So you see how you suddenly went well above your target speed. Small corrections, good.
Trim up a little bit.
Yeah, add that power a little bit because of that stupid ship. Watch your speed. Add more power. Yeah, so don't be shy on the power.
Trying to keep it at 15. Oh, you said you don't want us coming in at 2,000.
There you go. Yeah. 15 is a reference point. If you need to slow the power down, then increase power. Use what you got to use.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, good. All right. So, Martian, what I really wanted you to see is the path.
Yeah.
Okay. The other stuff is just bonus. This is stuff you're gonna pick up. So, no flaring a little early. Recovering nicely. Good job. All right, Martian. Let's go ahead and go to flights.
Yeah.
Load. That's load that. Yeah.
Figure out what the hotkey is for looking straight ahead.
Let's don't play yet. Let's talk through the go around first. Yeah.
Yeah.
First thing, I'll talk through it first, then you talk through it, and then do it. Okay. So.
Okay.
On the go around, we're going to add full power. We're going to pitch to stop the descent and then maintain 55 knots. We're going to make sure we're no longer descending. Bring back one set of flaps, because you should be on full flaps. If you're not, we'll set full flaps in a second. You're established 55 knots, not descending again. Another set of flaps. If you're clear of obstacles, 65 knots, not descending. Another set of flaps. We make sure that as we add full power, we check that the carb heat is in. We're going to also ensure that the wings stay level and that we're not going to allow the aircraft to bank away from what we want. As we add and remove flaps, we work against the flap pitching motions, whether it be a pitch up or pitch down as you add and remove flaps. So, to recap, full power, 55, retract one set, make sure you're not descending, another set, make sure you're not descending, another set, climb to 65, make sure you got the carb heat in before you do any of that. Walk me through it.
Okay. So we need full flaps before we start. That's kind of 4. Then full power, pitch up so we don't descend. Then get to 55 knots. Retract one set. Then make sure we're clear of obstacles. Get to 65, and then retract another set of flaps.
Good.
And I think we then still have one set of flaps to go. At what point do we retract that?
Every time you're stabilized in a non-descent, so either level or climbing.
Okay, so basically I want them in as fast as possible while stable.
While not rushing it. So don't rush it. Make sure you're not descending. Make sure you're ideally when you're climbing, but at the very least not descending. Okay, especially for the first set. For the first set, not descending. For the other 2 sets, you want to be climbing ideally, really.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're going to do is going to be really annoying for you. You're going to be using the pause button a lot. We're going to do it step by step together, okay?
Okay, sounds
So
good.
let's unpause it and let's get the final set of flaps. Down, as in so add flaps.
Yeah.
Okay, work against it. Don't let the aircraft pitch up. Don't let the aircraft... No, you're pitching up. Stop it. Stop it from pitching up. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hold stop.
good.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a 10-minute break while you guys do this.
All right.
Sorry to jump out.
Of course, please do. Let's remove the card beat because you're below 300 feet.
I need to set up a hotkey for this.
That's okay. Good. This is looking very good. Reduce power because you're coming onto the runway a little high.
I'm on idle. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Let's go around. Full power. Full power. Full power. Let's pitch to stop the descent. Good. Let's pause. What's your speed?
60 is a little high.
Yeah. What's your bank angle?
Not good.
Yeah, it's about 2-3 degrees to the right, to the left. Let's pitch up a little bit. Not big correction, just a little bit, like about half an inch higher than where you are. And pick up that left wing. Okay? So when you're ready, unpause and let's fix that.
There
you go. Too much correction on the other. Good.
Slower.
Good. Good. Are we climbing?
We are climbing.
Okay, so let's remove the first set of flaps.
That's like already the second flaps, actually.
Oh, right, sorry. Okay, good. Are you climbing?
Yeah, I'm climbing.
Let's get the second set of flaps.
Fine. 65. Trim. Oh, that's much.
Beautiful. That was perfect.
Actually, that was perfect. Cool.
Okay, let's reload that. Let's try that again.
Actually, give me a second, guys. See if I can figure out what the power reader
I don't think you can. Wish it FSUI PC, but
Half heating edge, yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
H.
perfect.
Okay, cool.
Perfect. There you go.
H. Okay, I can remember that. Right, let's load that up.
So let's reload it. Good. I wonder if it's the same for me. It is.
Okay.
It's the same for me.
So it's off right now. Hold on. And I need to move my throttle every time you restart. Okay, so same thing again, right?
Yes. Okay, good. Let's get that final set in. Good. Work against these flaps. Don't let the aircraft pitch up. See, it's pitching up. Work against it. You got 2000 RPM. Let's get it down to about 1500. So bring back the power. There you go. Good. This is looking much better. Yes, good correction. Okay, let's go around. Full power. Slowly pitching up to maintain the speeds. Perfect. Don't let the aircraft bank to the right. See, it's banking to the right. Stop it from banking to the right. Good.
Why do I always bank?
Okay, good. So we're no longer descending. Perfect. You got that flap in. Excellent. So let's pitch for 55 knots while we clear the terrains. Good. Are we descending? Yes. Fantastic. Your carb heat's still on, so let's turn that off. Yes, it's going to help you with the climb. Perfect. Once you stabilize about 60-65 knots? Yes. Fantastic. Good job. Much better. One more time for luck.
Cool. Okay, almost felt much better.
Yeah, let's get that set in. Good. Reduce power to about 1500 because we're high. Below 300 feet, let's turn off the carb heat.
So I do that before landing anyway.
Good. 60 knots. We want to keep 60 knots. All right. Let's go around full power. Don't let the aircraft roll to the right. There you go. Maintain the runway center line as best as you can. No longer descending. Let's get rid of one set of flaps. Maintain, don't go above 60 knots until you clear the obstacles. So 55 knots is what we're looking for. Don't let the aircraft roll to the right. Good. Keep the wings level. Fantastic. Good. Let's continue the circuit then, eh? And I don't know if Noel's here, but if he is, let me know. I think he needed a break anyways. All right. Let's turn.
100.
Yeah, let's turn. It's difficult with this one. I mean, of course, you're look at your speed, so let's pitch up a little bit more.
165, right? So
Yeah, and a little bit less bank as we do that.
yeah. Getting to the point where I see them right as you say them.
Yeah, it's like keep a look at the runway. Yeah, so
Okay,
45 and
that's
turn.
fine.
Yeah, there you go. See, it's very quick.
Yeah.
Flying along the coastline, perfect. Much better than the other times. Already a good improvement. So flying along that shore will roughly give you the right directions. Now you no longer need to focus on the direction indicator, right? You can do it visually, which will be much easier. Good, and if you were to have an engine power, you'd glide to the runway, which is perfect.
Cool. I'm gonna stabilize this real quick. Whoa. Footage. Brakes. Gear is okay. Mixture is in. Fuel is good. Instruments altimeter is set. This looks right. Fuel is good. We already have that. C is carburetor heat. We're gonna do that in a second, and I'm strapped in.
Good, so let's see where the runway is. Yeah, so you got a while now. You take your time. Let's try the radio
Slow
call.
down now.
Do the radio call.
Okay. What's the K? What's K?
So, tower. K is kilo.
Kilo, right. Tower, November 2809 kilo. What is the call?
So you're saying that you're left downwind. It's a left traffic pattern because you're turning left. So left downwind, that's your position.
Yeah.
And then what you're gonna do? Let's do a full stop landing. Okay, so yeah, go for it.
Tower, November 2809 kilo in a downwind leg left traffic pattern, and we're gonna come in for landing on runway 09.
Perfect. Good.
Okay. So I'm gonna slow down now.
Are you abeam the threshold?
Okay. I'm only slowing down after the threshold.
Yeah.
Okay. Good point.
So make sure you maintain the direction. Good.
Yeah, I'm looking at this island there.
Fantastic. Yeah, so now you can reduce the power to about 1800. You're in the wide arc, so you can go ahead and get one set of flaps in.
Yeah.
You've got 70 knots. Let's pitch to maintain the 70 knots as soon as you've got it. Yeah, so pitch, yeah. Don't let the flaps control pitch. You control pitch, not the flaps, right?
Right.
Good. So you've got that.
Okay.
Let's see that the runway is about the 45, which it is now. So let's go ahead and make that turn. Very good. That's an excellent circuit. Really, really, really good. You can use 30 degrees bank. Nothing stopping you as long as you maintain the airspeed. Yeah. Good. So we're leveling off roughly here, so you can see sort of like the corner of the bay is a good place to aim at. Yeah, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, to the right. Good. Maintain 70 knot. That'll do. Okay, let's get what second set of flaps in. Good. Maintain the 70 knots. Let's get around 1500 RPM, and let's start that turn to final. Maintain the 70 knots, and turn on to final 30 degree bank. And keep an eye looking for the runway. Yeah, there you go. That's my bad. So let's correct for the center line. And let's correct the power setting. Final flaps below 300 feet. So let's go ahead and remove the carb heat. There you go. Anticipate the inertia. Good. Excellent. No, don't pitch up. You're slow. Add power. This is why. We control altitude with power. Pitch down, pitch down, pitch down, pitch down. Not up, down. Down, 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 down. There, down, down, down. There you go. Now, flare. Cut the power. A little bit high on the airspeed.
Too early.
That's okay.
Oh,
pitch up, pitch up, pitch up. Yeah, don't let the nose drop. But good. That was really good. That was an excellent circuit. I see that Null's back. That was a really, really good circuit, Martian.
I have returned.
I find it really hard to use the lights for altitude because I feel if I do that, I come in way too early or too low.
The what?
I feel like the red and white lights. I feel if I use them, I hit the trees.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, remember that the lights are there to tell you your height, not your center line.
Okay, yeah. So if I don't hit the trees if I'm on center line.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
I mean, it's dumb. This is FSX adding trees where there shouldn't be.
Right.
But yeah. So you can go a little bit higher if you want because of that.
Right.
No, Martian, that was really, really good. Have another practice round, practice circuit if you want. I'm gonna watch Null for one circuit, see what he's doing.
Sure.
And then I think I'm gonna call it a night.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's absolutely fair.
I'm gonna do the same afterwards. I actually need to get up early as well.
I might do maybe a VATSIM flight or something, but I've been talking all night.
Tower, November, Uniform, Lima, Lima, turning downwind, runway 09er for a full stop landing.
Can you guys hear anything from my mic at the moment?
I can hear you.
Yes.
But can you hear like a background noise or something?
No. Not really.
Okay.
Man, this wind all of a sudden. Jeez. All right. Brakes. Good. Undercarriage doesn't matter. Mixture in. Fuel. Good. Indicator. Good. Instrument C is carb heat. H doesn't matter. Right. Gonna throttle down slightly and pitch up, pitch up, pitch up, pitch up. Get that first flap. Flaps 10. I'm gonna turn base, begin my descent.
Correct for that crosswind now. Turn into the wind a little more.
A little high. Gonna turn final. Carb heat on, off. The good one. Second set of flaps. Third set of flaps. Bite it. A little more power.
Tower November 2809, okay. Downwind, downwind left pattern, coming runway 09 for full stop landing.
A little early on the flare there, no. Keep it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Good. Right, now, on your second turn, you're a little steep on the bank angle.
You're back. Flaps up.
Shit, of course.
Throttle up. Exit to the right.
I've been speaking to you every now and again, and not realizing that I muted my mic.
Oh, I thought you were just really. I thought you were like, this was a test, and I was like, okay, I gotta be really good because he's not saying anything.
No, that was good, mate. The only pointers I had are like 2 or 3. One was your second turn was a little steep.
Okay.
So yeah, just watch your bank angle. If you're gonna overshoot and then come back afterwards. Yeah, it's better to overshoot than it is to do a steep turn.
So wait, are you saying the turn to base or the turn to downwind?
Turn to downwind.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one that felt. Okay.
All your legs are really well done. I'd say your base leg you're not correcting enough for the crosswind.
Okay.
You're turning onto the correct heading, but then you're not turning into the wind. Remember, there's 13 knots down the wind, down the runway at the moment, and you're flying at 70. That's like, what, 20% of your speed?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. So, really fast taxi.
I gotta get there, man. I gotta go. I don't know one single thing about taxiing other than that I should be on the center line. So, any.
No,
I assume there's a speed limit.
Yeah, control's good. The handbooks say a brisk walking pace, but
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's hilarious. I'd say like no faster than a jog.
Okay. Good to know.
So a little bit of that correction there, and then the final point I mentioned was, you're flaring too early.
Okay. I gotta say, I don't want to make excuses. 99% of the time I'm flying in VR, and it is way easier to see how high I am off the ground then.
It is.
So like I know I'm flaring too high. I can only tell you I don't flare as high when I'm in VR, but yeah. I know. But when I do that, so I just hold the flare and That's what I should be doing, right?
Yes, that's it. Just if you flare too early, you got two options. Either you go around, or you hold it and then let the energy bleed off, and if necessary, add a bit of power. But if you are at the point where you're needing to add power, then you flared really early, and you should really be going around.
Okay.
But that is a wee trick.
We're at 0, like right now it's like perfect, like AGL 0 basically.
Yeah.
When should I begin my flare? Like 50 feet?
No. You should, it should be so low that the altimeter is useless.
Oh, okay, wow, okay, fair enough.
You should be flaring when you think you're gonna hit basically right before the aircraft touches down.
Okay.
And you're extending that sort of, you're curving out that path.
Okay, that makes sense.
So no,
Thank you.
that was good. No, other than that, keep practicing because that's looking good. Yeah, and get that software installed because I'll probably be able to help you a little better.
Yeah, that would be great. I'll get that going this week.
Martian, holy crap, mate! You've made huge improvements.
The last one really worked. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You like think about the beginning. You were going far. You were getting lost. You were struggling. You were close to hitting buildings, and now you're really getting that go around really nicely done. You're coming in close. So you're at a gliding distance. So you have massively improved from the beginning of the session. Loads and loads of improvement, and that goes to the both of you. You've both come further now. You're now further along than you were when we first started, which is exactly what we want.
Yeah, that was great teaching. Deep learning.
Yeah,
curve.
seriously.
Thanks, Mary.
No, of course. As you can tell, teaching this in the aircraft is, I mean, your butt gets sore from all the clenching.
Yeah.
But because the thing is, you have to let students make their mistakes, so you really have to sort of let it go on for as long as is safe, and that's usually beyond what you're comfortable with. But this is the great thing about flight sim. I don't care if you crash. You know, if it's flight sim, if you crash, it would just reload the flight.
Yeah.
So, but no, so absolutely banging job. We've covered a lot of the circuits. A lot of it's going to be, the next lesson is going to be consolidation, but we will be adding things. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the flare. We're going to be talking about wind corrections in more detail. We're going to look at sort of doing flapless landings and the glide approach. A glide approach is a lot of fun. If you want, I can demonstrate one for you now, but it's basically cutting your engine whenever you're ready, and then aiming for the touchdown zone without any power. And that is an excellent exercise in judging distances and glide. In fact, I might do that now if you guys want.
Yeah, I would love to just see that in action. If you got the, I mean, I don't want to keep you up. It's probably quite late there.
It's 9:45. It's just that I've got tomorrow, but it's at 1 p.m. so it's fine.
Roger that. I'll be crossing my fingers at the appropriate UTC time for you.
Thank you. Let me just do this. I'm not gonna do a proper circuit, I think, but we'll see. Yeah, this wind is really something, huh?
I think it's really
yeah, it's windy. The gusts or something. Maybe next time we can find a VATSIM airfield, and then we can all be in the circuit, and the controller can take care of us.
Oh, that would be cool.
So sign up for VATSIM if you haven't already. Okay, I'm gonna cut the circuit short because it would sort of happen in the downwind anyways. I just did the auto DI correction because I'm not bothered to. Okay. 65. Right. Okay, so imagine I've done the proper circuit. And I'm in the downwind.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to decide when I'm going to cut the power. So I'm going to go back to 2100. I'm looking at the runway, and I'm going to pick when I'm going to cut the power. And when I do, I will just bring throttle to idle, and then I will aim to land. And this is it's a good exercise. So here we are. And I'd say pretty much now because of the strong winds. So I'm going to pitch for 60 knots, which is the best glide speed. Having a look here. Yeah, I'm going to start turning now because of that wind. So anticipating the winds is really important here, and then adjusting your glide path accordingly. So here, okay, this is looking okay. I'm going to go beyond a little bit, the base leg. Okay, this is looking alright actually. So pitch down for 60 knots. I am getting a little short, so I'm going to cut in tight. 60 knots is the best glide speed, so that's the speed where I'll glide the furthest. Okay, it looks like I'm going to make the runway. So at this point, I'm going to start thinking about using flaps. But once I use flaps, I don't retract them, so it's a final decision. Okay, I'm going to use one set of flaps, pitch for 60. Second set of flaps. And third set of flaps. Pitching for 60, pitching for 60, pitching for 60. I'm going to get into the flare soon. Watching the end of the runway as I do this. Stop the aircraft from touching down as long as I can. And there you go. That would have been a rough landing. That's a glide approach.
Oh.
Sorry, no, you're gonna say something?
No, I'm impressed.
All right, it's fun. You'll be able to do that quite well. Are you so you're so impressed you left the group?
Oh, I turned off the simulator because I was just sitting and it was kicking the fan on.
I know, it's fine. I was just messing around. So really, there's a final component of the exercise which I didn't add, which is you need to pick a touching down point, and then you don't want to touch down before that point, and you want to try and get as close to it as possible. And it's a good exercise. It makes you aware. It's good to get you to estimate sort of the distances and also the winds, and to correct for your estimations, right? So there you go. That's the demonstration I wanted to show you guys, anyways. Which is one of the things we'll be doing in a future lesson.
Nice.